In today's episode, we're going to talk about what you and I can do about the conflict going on in Gaza and Israel and in the Middle East. Many of us feel like we're helpless. We can't do anything about that. We're seeing photos, we're hearing the news, we're hearing personal accounts, and this is the one beauty and one problem of the internet and our globalization and connectedness is that we can know about every single thing going on, and then we're just hanging out in our town that we live in. And we feel like, what can I actually do? I'm going to tell you what you can do, so come on in. I'll back up. So when I was in college and I found out about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in more depth in my political theory classes, I couldn't believe that it was happening. I mean, this is back in 2009. I couldn't believe that that was going on. And so I started studying Middle Eastern politics. I took 3 years of Arabic, and I've ended up going to Israel, so all over the country, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and as well as into the West Bank 3 times. I have done coaching immersions and coaching client work in Tel Aviv. I have done coaching and conflict resolution training, in the West Bank, in the city of Rawabi. And I have friends there. Like, I know real people there right now, friends that are Palestinian and Arab. I know people, I have friends who are Israeli and Jewish. And I kind of know like a little bit about this issue. And I'm telling you, I'm not completely ignorant, but I'm really still feel like I don't know much. And I want to first let us all know that if you don't know much about a situation, if it's brand new to you, and I'm telling you anything, if a situation's happening that's disturbing you or causing some unrest and you don't know much about it, it's okay not to have an opinion. It's okay to not know or, be unsure about, what side do I choose? Well, don't choose a side. You don't need to make a stand. And I struggle with this because I take a stand for humanity. So I'll get into my philosophy on that in a moment. But I was in Curacao when the war in Ukraine and Russia war was beginning and broke out. And I remember walking onto the beach where my house was, and one of my neighbors, older gentleman in his maybe 70s, he looked at me and he goes, "What do you think about the war in Ukraine and the Ukraine-Russia situation?" I think he knew I studied politics. I have a master's degree in public policy, so I kind of follow stuff. And I looked at him and I thought for a moment, I said, I have no opinion. I know nothing about this particular region, these countries, their history, what's going on in relation to NATO and everything. And I remember him couldn't believe that I didn't have an opinion. And I didn't. I don't want to talk about something unless I have some sort of learned knowledge about it or experience with it. So I'm prefacing this with offering you that you really don't have to have an opinion. You can also just take a more neutral stance as well. And if people are not okay with that, that's their problem. So I had no position on Ukraine, Russia, but I have a little bit to say about this issue. So first, my heart goes to all of you guys that are there right now. I can see your faces. I have been to your towns. I love you. I've trained you. I've had birthday cakes with you. I have gone to dinners with you in your cities. And I just feel so, I can see you guys and I'm here for you. I really am. And for you listening, the purpose of the episode is, what can you and I do about the Gaza and Israeli conflict? What can you and I actually do? And my message is very simple. What you can do right now is forgive someone in your life that you want to forgive. What you can do is go and tell someone that you love them, call a parent, call a family member, and just say, you know what, I love you. I really appreciate you. Give them some sort of kindness back. Do an act of service. Go and pay for something for somebody. Give a new parent or a new mother a meal without asking. see how many small instances of kindness and service that you could bring into your day right now. Yes, it's an act of service to let someone in on the highway. Yes, it's an act of service to respond to a text message in the most calm, neutral, and highest place of yourself, rather than bringing in more blame or anger or separation. Now, if we want to do something for the Middle East, all we can do is create nonviolence in our own life. We can practice not judging others or believing the illusion that we are separate or different from other people. Our ego is addicted to separation and the illusion that we are somehow different or separate from other human beings on this planet. It is false. It is a false ego. It is not true. The only thing that we do as humans is we build borders. We occupy people. We separate out based on ideology and religion and limiting beliefs and illusions. And we construct our reality in a way in which we perpetuate violence, just like what's happening in Gaza and Israel. We do that in our own life. Now, of course, it's not as obvious to me or to you that we're creating violence in our life or creating separation in our life. We don't want violence and separation in Gaza and Israel. Well, holy shit, maybe I need to stop doing that in my life. My work is my work. You know, as I say in the podcast, who you become on the path to living life on your terms is what it's all about. And so this is about who you can become in order to create more peace in this world. And that sounds corny as fuck, but I mean it. If you want more peace and love and connection and compassion, and you want that energy, then be that energy. We might not think that we have similarities in our life to Gaza and Israel because we have maybe smaller conflicts in our life, smaller bits of hate, smaller judgments, smaller bits of separation, smaller fears. Now, of course, it's on the micro level in your individual life. Like on an individual life, take an audit. Like how much hatred or fear or separation or conflict or judgment or violence is happening in your life, right? And then you bring that to the macro or the aggregate whole or the collective, and then you see bombings, soldiers, guns, crying babies. Yeah? Maybe just take it down. I get like sick to my stomach talking about it. Bring it back to your life. This is where your power is. This is where your authentic power lies, is in what you can do. Look to your left and your right. What can you do right now? I want to tell you a story, sad story. When I was running on the trail here in Curacao, I run on the trails by the salt panes and the ocean, and I ran past the skeleton of a dead dog. And when I stopped to kind of look at what I was running past, I noticed that there was a cloth, a sheet wrapped around the dog's neck. And I immediately started crying. I was horrified. I couldn't believe that probably this dog's body was dragged and killed in such a horrific manner. And who would do this? And then out of nowhere, as I stood there with the dog's body, like I sent the dog love. And then I put my hand on my heart and I imagined the men, I'm guessing they were men or boys, who did this to the dog. And then I imagined these men or boys as little boys, as 4 or 5-year-olds. I imagine these beautiful boys, innocent boys, and the violence that they experienced in their own life. The violence, the anger, the judgment, the hatred, the separation that these boys experienced in order to drive them to kill a dog by dragging it by the neck. And I just sent these guys peace. I wish that these men had some peace in their life because they won't create violence in our reality. And then after sending, rather than hatred to the men, I sent them peace. I went out, bought a shit ton of dog food, and I went on the side of the road and I fed like every starving dog I could find on my drive back to my house. That's what I can do. And you're not in Curacao, maybe listening to the podcast. You can't do anything about Curacao. You know, what are you going to do about the streets of Curacao and the dogs? Nothing, but I can feed them. I can send love. I can be kind. I can do something in my own world here. And what about you? What can you do in Dubai, in London, in New York, in Pakistan, in Australia, in China, in Canada? What can you do? God, please do something. Because I'm not there, but you are. You can create love. And when you do that, you are honoring people in Gaza and Israel. You're honoring people in Ukraine and Russia. You're honoring every single human being with your presence. So I love you guys. I hope this inspires you to be the person that you want to be and to live this one life at your highest level of awareness possible. You can do it. Let's do some kindness today with love. See you on the next episode.